No shows suspended indefinitely. Someone is not close to returning from an injury. CM Punk getting heat for reproductive tea. All that and the best and worst gimmicks matches of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just another Evan podcast. Hit the music. Coming to you live from the FM Worldwide Media Studios, located in parts unknown. Just another Evan podcast. Happy Saturday in the park. It feels like the 4th of July. Ladies and gentlemen, I am one half of the greatest tag team podcast wrestling champions in all of podcast wrestling history. I am the original rump shaker. I'm the JFB, James from Boston.
And I am the gingered up, bubbly son of a bitch. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
Canada Dry. Holy shebang. We got the whole crew here. Hey guys, out in our watching the podcast on Saturday was the JFB going to the Bahamas. Woo!
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a family vacation.
Will you be representing the show?
Oh yes, this is going in the suitcase. So is the JFBT and the effing middle fingers, of course, because we want to go international. Is our hope and dream.
If someone asks about what is that, you can tell them.
Oh yeah, I'm going to tell them. Just another effing podcast. It's a wrestling podcast by two crazy guys from different parts of the world. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, look, Coke Zero action there. Holy cow! All right,
before you get into the news,
yeah.
I have a little bit of effing wrestling news.
Oh, go shoot.
Okay, so we have a new segment once a month coming to the Magic of Wrestling.
Nice.
That is called AFW Backstage.
Ooh.
And it's going to be people coming on the show from AFW, and they will be being in character and just having fun and talking about feuds and doing promos and that should be fun. And that's coming up in September for the new season of AFW. So we just wanted to talk about that.
I love it, man. JFB might show up. He might start talking trash about the whole lot of you that are watching, sons of a bee. So, as always, before we get to our other segments, we do have a segment that we do seriously.
No, we do not sign Natalia Markova.
We're still in talks. There was an impasse. She wanted Dunkin' Donuts. We said no. This is a Tim Hortons podcast, so we're still at an impasse. But it could happen.
Well, they got those Bieber Timbits now. Justin Bieber Timbits.
Yeah, Justin Bieber Timbits. You can't beat that. So before we get to everything else, we do have, of course, our friend and cohort in crime, Kenny. He's usually free on Sundays, but we asked him, can you show up at the Worldwide Media Studios? And yeah, so hi, Kenny. So Kenny is in the back.
Welcome, Lana, for your first time watching live. It's always the best when you watch live because you can interact and we'll show your comments on the show. It's the funnest when you're live.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome. And I love the Fozzy icon on your for your avatar. Fozzy rocks, of course. They have a new album that just came out. It's on Apple Music and Spotify. It's really good. If you like it, buy it. Let's get some Chris Jericho money in his pocket. So before we get to everything, let's get to the news. from the four corners of the globe to your backyard. This is FNN, FN News Network, starring Canada Dry and the JFB. Oh,
good morning from FNN News.
Good morning.
We gotta have a cup of Joe in the morning. You gotta watch that traffic. It's a doozy.
Yes, we'll go live to Kenny. He's in the helicopter. He'll be giving us what's going on in the effing world. So the big news, we figure we start off first. Sasha Banks and Naomi. The whole shebang. Thank you, Trey J Styles. We appreciate it. We love you, brother. Sasha and Naomi basically walked into Johnny Ace's office, John Laurinaitis, put the belts on his table, said, "We quit," walked out on Raw. They have now been suspended indefinitely. All their merch is taken off site. Coincidentally, this is coming within a couple of months of both of their contracts up for renewal. Canada Dry, what is your take on this?
So also, you got Michael Cole announcing on SmackDown that they're suspended indefinitely. The tag team, they've been stripped of the tag team titles. There's gonna be a tournament, but Michael Cole goes, Sasha Banks and Naomi, you've let everyone down.
Oh yeah.
So they got ahead of this story right away, and which is weird because they've never done this before.
Yeah. They're trying to control the narrative.
So the question I have, and if you want to answer yourselves in the chat here, is this racist? Is this a touch of racism from WWE?
I think it is. I think there's a smidge of it in there. I mean, they've had issues with Sasha Banks in the past. This is no big news. But Naomi has always been a company girl. You know, I mean, they've saddled her with horrible gimmicks like the Funkadelics, and she showed up and she worked it. And it's two black athletes having issue with creative makes you wonder how much of it is a tinge of racism. I think it's in there, definitely, for sure. What do you think?
Well, at first I wasn't sure, but we had a few guys commenting in our AFW chat last night, and they have never ever done this before. All of a sudden, you got two black girls, and they do it, and it's big news. They get ahead of it. They're pretty much we're so down on you guys. Like you let the universe down, and it never happened to Ryback. It never happened to Ultimate Warrior. It never happened to Hogan. Never happened to any of these guys.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy. I mean, he walked out.
Tony Storm.
Exactly. All those people, by the way, are white.
And the other thing about Sasha Banks, she really, really loves tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
And this guy, what happened the first time? She wanted to really make those tag team women belts something special. And WWE never saw them as special. And I think that's her one of her major craws is that they're never seen as special. She wants to elevate and make that women's tag team division something equal to men. And WWE just doesn't see it.
I agree. I totally agree. LA Knight made a move to the main roster. He's now known as Max Dupree. Max Dupree.
It reminds me of La Resistance. Are they bringing back La Resistance?
I think so. They have to. I can't imagine they wouldn't.
Rene Dupree, and he's related to Max Dupree's related to him. But LA Knight wasn't a good name to begin with.
No, it wasn't. But
what was his name in the Indies? He had
I think it was LA Knight, if I'm not mistaken.
It was something else. If you guys remember in the chat, let us know what LA Knight's name was before
LA Knight's name.
NXT.
Kenny Omega is said to not be close to returning from injury. He is dealing with a lot of injuries lately. So, does this hurt or help AEW?
Trey J says it's Eli Drake.
Eli Drake, that's it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's who it is. Thank you. I believe he said that he is going to no longer be backstage. I think he's going to be an on-air presence, even though he's not going to be wrestling.
Yeah.
So, which is good because, he adds a lot to the table, even without stepping in the ring.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's going to be good as far as that goes.
Yeah. So Monty Ellis, he is a well-known referee for WWE for a lot of years. So on Talk is Jericho, and actually revealed that Taker's streak actually almost ended at WrestleMania 25 against Shawn Michaels. Apparently, what happened was Taker went to take a top rope dive, landed on his head, which I fully remember that match, and told Marty Elias, if I don't get, count me to 10. If I don't get in, it's over. So he almost lost to Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25, and that would have been the end of the streak right there instead of Brock Lesnar.
So it wasn't written down, but they almost had to.
Yeah. He told Marty to call it in the ring and give him a shoot on a 10 to get back in the ring. So we had the two Jokers. The big surprise was Johnny Elite. John, only known as John Morrison, Johnny Nitro. He's gone by many monikers. John Morrison, Johnny Elite was the Joker in the men's. Put on an actually pretty decent show. I was really, really surprised. He looks really good for post WWE. What do you think about him showing up?
I think he is a good guy to be in that mid card scene. I don't see him being pushed as a world champion, but he's a good guy to come in and not have to worry about a push.
Yeah.
Because he's got that name recognition. He can take a few losses here and there, but he's a good guy to have on the roster. And
I see him as a TNT champion at some point.
Yeah, and as they move away from some of the originals, I see them slowly moving those guys out of there. You see more guys like Johnny Elite and different ex-WWE guys.
So everybody remembers Nash Carter. He was MSK. He was the one MSK guy for WWE for posing as Hitler with a Hitler mustache. MJF tweeted support for it and then deleted the tweet. I don't know if you know this. Do we think we'll see PJ Black in AEW? Absolutely. I hope so. I like PJ Black. I think he's a great match. He's a great mat technician. I love his high flying. What do you think?
I don't know much about him, so we're just going to rely on your word here, JFB.
Yeah. So, in case you don't know, there's a website called the Wayback Machine, and it actually physically takes pictures of stuff within minutes, within seconds. So anything you post is going to show up on the Wayback Machine. And guess what? MJF, you can delete your tweet. It's still out there because it's circulating like crazy. But here's MJF, who is Jewish, supporting a wrestler from WWE who got fired because he decided to pose with a Hitler salute and a Hitler mustache.
So I think, I think probably it's a tough thing because it's his friend. He lived with him. Yeah. And it's a tough thing not to support your friend. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And, I honestly don't think he was doing it on purpose. He was just having fun. But you can't do that when you're a social figure.
No. There's something about saluting Hitler that's just... And as somebody who's Jewish, it just rubs me the wrong way.
And Kimberly, she was really trying to find a way to stick it to him. She said that she was abused by him, so she met her goal by posting that.
Yeah. So everybody knows about Ric Flair. He is coming out of retirement to go ahead and to wrestle one more match, and it was revealed that The opponent will be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at StarCast 5 in Nashville the weekend of SummerSlam. Ricky Steamboat has come out and said, nope, not going to happen. I'm not wrestling Ric Flair. So who is Ric Flair going to actually wrestle? I'll put it out to you guys. Who can Ric Flair wrestle?
George, Trey J, Lana, who do you think
Yeah.
is gonna be part of this?
Because they ain't the Dragon, that's for sure.
Well, I appreciate this from Ricky the Dragon because I think he could probably still put on a show, but he's got the same sort of mindset as Bret Hart, that he wants his legacy as a wrestler, not as this old timer who, and I think, I don't know, Rick has that same sort of mentality.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Our last bit of news, CM Punk, Ricky Morton. That actually would not be a bad match. Leaf,
be a really good one, George. That's a good point.
He does a better Flair than Flair does. You're right. Absolutely.
And you know what? With the, I think it should be someone who can actually go. If you get two old guys, no one wants to see that.
Yeah, nobody wants to see geriatric Fight Club happening.
So if you put one guy who can still go, and you put an older guy, it kind of makes the match a little bit more digestible.
Yeah, because that guy can carry the match, and at least make Flair look, halfway decent. So CM Punk is getting a lot of heat online because of his reproductive tee that he wore at Dynamite this week. Hey guys, here's the deal. This guy is a self-proclaimed straight edge atheist jerk. He has been a very liberal person since he started wrestling. This is not a surprise or a shocker. I support it. I think reproductive rights are the rights of a woman and not of a white guy as a governor or as a senator or a president. I think women have the right to reproductive rights, but
okay. So this is my issue with the CM Punk shirt. When you start allowing the superstars to be vocal about their political views,
yes,
you're going to get them from both sides, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
That's my major issue with it, is I don't think that wrestling should be political in any way.
Yeah.
I think we watch wrestling to kind of get that out.
Yeah,
I don't want to see politics in my wrestling. I just want to watch. I want to be in Dreamland. I want to be in Fantasyland, and I want to pretend it's all real.
I agree. But CM Punk, he's very political.
CM Punk is CM Punk.
Yeah. So how this is surprising people is beyond me. So, all right, that is the news. We're going to go to our joke of the week. It's Dean Moss. Mossman or Moss?
It's Mossman.
Dean Mossman. So he is going to give us our joke of the week. Magic Wrestling asked if they're allowed to. I'm very vocal about my politics, and I agree for the most part with
what
Canada Dry.
Twitter is for. Like, you could use your Twitter, but once the show starts, I don't like it.
So to me, wrestling is a microcosm. It's a very much a look at society as a whole. For example, we were in the Iraq war when Iraq invaded Kuwait, and Sergeant Slaughter was a bad guy. And it really is. Sometimes it is a very much an about face of what's happening in society today. Guys like Dante Martin and a lot of your professional black wrestlers wear Black Lives Matters on their armbands. New Day did it and still do for the most part. So it's out there. Like I said, it is a very much a mirror of what's happening in society. So let's get to our joke of the week. Dean Mossman is our joke of the week. We have a new sponsor, but we will find out who the sponsor is after this. Joke of the week is brought to you by Mom's Robots from Mom's Incorporated. If it's not a robot from Mom's, it's probably a piece of crap. Mom, maker of the best robots. That is right. That is our new sponsor for this week.
Yes.
Yeah, Mom's. You can't go wrong with Mom's. Mom's Robots are the best. Bender units are my favorite. Devil Robot
Bite
also
my
is
shiny metal ass.
Bite my shiny metal ass. So here's Dean's joke of the week.
A sandwich walks into a bar and orders a beer. The bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve food here." Aha.
Okay. Guys, if you have a joke for the week, send it to either Canada Dry or the JFB, and we will put it on the show. Joke of the week. We always have a new sponsor. I can't wait to see who our sponsor is next week. So now it's time to go into the main event.
Gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Shaka Khan.
Speaking of joke of the week, so
Kip Sabian.
he goes, Kip Sabian is back. I guess, and then George, he thought that was funny.
So here's the deal. So we were ruminating as to what our main event was going to be this week. We threw out a lot of ideas. We even put it out on Facebook for everybody to vote on, and we decided to go with not a top 10 per se, but the top 5 best and worst gimmick matches.
We went with an essential black and white cookie.
Yes. What were the 5 best and what were the 5 worst? We wanted to compare and contrast. So as always, we are going to start with the worst, and that is going to be our number 5. This is the worst number 5. It is this championship scramble. So essentially, WWE's had some doozies when it comes to gimmick matches. Some were amazing, while others just came up like a turd, like the championship scramble. On paper, there should have been gold 20-minute matches. You pin or submit, the belt is yours, and whoever had it at the end would be champ. What should have been amazing and basically ended up in nothing but utter confusion and a horrible, horrible idea. This was at Unforgiven in 2008. They did do it again before they finally retired this. 2 superstars start in the ring, and every 5 minutes, a new superstar enters. If a superstar scores a pinfall or a submission over another superstar, he becomes the current champion. Whoever is the champion at the end of the 20 minutes becomes the official champion.
Welcome, Stella, to the show. That's
hey,
awesome.
Stella, how you doing? Stella 251. Thank you for joining us in.
Hello, we're paging Stella 251. Stella 251, we're paging you.
So this thing was a turd. The idea is great. It's a really good idea that just wasn't executed. What are your thoughts?
It was like capture the flag.
Yeah.
For wrestling, or it was just like you got to hold the belt and then someone else take it. No, it's King of the Hill. That's what it is. It's like King of the
Hill. Yeah.
Yes. And so you got the belt, and whoever has the belt last is champion. But the thing is that, that wouldn't be so bad if it was, each person wasn't announced as champion.
Yeah.
Every time someone would win, the new WWF champion is Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
And so, technically, they're not champions, but it's all big hogwash of crap with that one. But you know what? Chris Jericho was the right one to walk away with that because he was on fire at the time.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. So let's go to our best number 5. This one's a favorite one of mine. Let's talk about death matches. I, for one, am not a huge death match fan. Too much realistic violence and way too much blood is a turnoff for me, but I can see the love some people have for it. One that stands out for me is the infamous fight in FMW between Onita and Sabu. Barbed wire for the ropes, exploding C4, and the ring caught on fire. The fire eventually spread, and Onita had to come in and save Sabu from being engulfed in flames. That is one of my favorites. Do you have a favorite death match, Canada Dry?
So I'm not very experienced in this area at all.
Yeah.
But the Mox and Omega death match I was just blown away at those guys putting their body line. It sucked that the end kind of was anticlimactic, but
Yes.
it was still one hell of a match with the electricity going off and all that. Was incredible.
Yeah, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling (FMW) probably is the grandfather of death matches. Onita is probably
Sabu is it retired?
No, Sabu is not retired. Sabu actually still wrestles indie shows. He doesn't wrestle as much. He only does about 40 shows a year.
He was a major contributor to our friend Brian Idol.
Yeah,
they're friends, and in a way, he passed that on to Natalia. So,
yeah,
in a way, we are kind of trained by Sabu.
Yeah, we have a connection to Sabu. I like it. So let's go to our worst number 4. Sometimes I've always wondered if Vince and creative used blindfolds to come up with their matches. Then it became a reality when he had 2 guys with cloth sacks over their heads and forced to wrestle. What resulted was what looked like 2 drunken wrestlers trying to put on a show. It made everybody basically look like an idiot.
Who's in this picture here? Is that Triple H?
That's Triple H, and I'm not sure who the other big guy is.
Yeah, I don't even recognize that other.
Yeah, but
a
blindfold match.
Maybe is it Al Snow?
Yeah, maybe it could be Al Snow. But what's so funny is it's not a completely covered cloth sack. Actually, where the eyes are, it's a mesh, so you can still kind of see. But
you got to fake not being able to see, which is not fun.
Exactly. Yeah. This is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wasn't the first one Jake the Snake, or was this way back before that?
It was Jake. Actually, one of the first ones was Jake the Snake Roberts. Yes.
It was Jake, and was it the model?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it was, because he sprayed his perfume, his cologne, in his eyes and blinded Jake the Snake Roberts. So they had a blindfold match. Great blind superheroes, Daredevil. Not wrestlers.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see people stumbling like this, going, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. What are your thoughts on the blindfold match?
You can make this work in a small segment on Raw or Dynamite but you can't put this on a pay-per-view. You can make this a 5-minute match on a TV show.
Sure.
But on a pay-per-view, I don't want to see that if I'm paying. The pay-per-views are expensive now. I don't.
Yeah, no kidding.
It. So I don't mind it as a throwaway on a TV show, but don't put it on pay-per-views.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is the most asinine thing I think I've ever seen on a pay-per-view. Let's go to our best number 4. We're talking about Money in the Bank. From the creative genius of Chris Jericho came the fruition of a gimmick match that eventually became its own pay-per-view. 7 guys or 7 girls would create havoc, climbing ladders to capture a briefcase that contained a contract for a future shot at the championship belt. It started at WrestleMania 21 and it eventually became its own pay-per-view. Past winners include CM Punk, Edge, Carmella, and Asuka. Surprisingly, Chris Jericho, who is often credited for coming up with the Money in the Bank, never won Money in the Bank, guys. So what are your thoughts, Canada Dry, on our amazing Money in the Bank at number 4?
The ladder matches, Money in the Bank ladder matches are so fun. And, I liked it when it was part of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
As one match. But I don't really want it as a pay-per-view so much.
Yeah.
And the Money in the Bank with the building, that could easily go on our 5 worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a very bad pay-per-view.
Yeah. Climbing up the corporate ladder, so to speak.
Money in the, what was it called? Money in the Building? Or money on the
Money
on the roof.
In the building. Yeah, on the roof.
But as a good match, it's entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
You got 6 to 7 guys that can work together and just put on a show. I always wanted Jericho to win it.
Same here.
He won at least one time.
Yeah.
So
I never know if he ends up his career at WWE, very well could see. We very well easily see Jericho win a Money
I
in the Bank.
don't see it ever happening.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. I love Money in the Bank. I love the concept. I mean, it's been copied. It was copied before because the NWA back in the early 80s had a match where they would suspend a contract over the ring and you would have to climb up to get it. So,
And you got
but Vince,
AEW's version of this, the casino ladder match.
yeah, the Casino Battle Royale. Yeah.
No, that's different. The casino
okay.
ladder match is different.
Oh, the chip, the big
Yes,
casino
you got to get
chip.
that chip to be the face of the Revolution.
Face of the Revolution.
I like the AEW's play on it where they kind of, someone's coming out different and everyone's not in the ring at the same time. I think that's pretty good.
I like it. And what's great is you have a ton of high spots in the Money in the Bank match. Anytime there's a ladder, there's going to be a wicked high spot on it. So let's go to our number 3 worst. This one's going to be a doozy. For decades, there have been matches where one wrestler would have to disrobe the other wrestler to win. Then as the Attitude Era came forth, and so did the bra and panties matches. Instead of giving women a chance to show off their ring prowess, Vince decided to objectify them by making them strip to their bra and panties while the commentators essentially hooted and hollered. Of course, none other than Jerry the King Lawler yelling, "Puppies, puppies, puppies." Thoughts on number 3 Canada Dry bra and panties matches?
It's with. I hope that we haven't arrived yet.
Yeah,
because we're still hiring women based on looks. We're still hiring women based on what their bodies look like.
Yeah,
but it's very important that the wrestlers can actually wrestle now, which wasn't always the case.
Yeah,
absolutely. You had women like Kat who had no wrestling experience at all. She's just showing up and, but this was, I think, one of the darker times in wrestling because, you got Trish Stratus barking like a dog and just it. I know Trish Stratus was fine with that because she got to give the comeuppance to Vince later. Yeah. But on TV, it's cringeworthy to watch.
Yeah. To me, it's always been an issue just because wrestling is a man's sport. And I don't mean that in a derogatory fashion. When you look at your demographics and you look at who's watching professional wrestling demographically wise, it's usually skewed 18 to 24, and it's usually male. So sex sells. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's a reason why Scarlett Johansson is doing a Chanel ad in a see-through dress. It's because that's what sells. Guys are going to remember that and say, well, shit, I want my wife to look like Scarlett Johansson. I'm going to buy her some perfume from Chanel. I think my issue with it is you had some really great talent. You had Trish Stratus, you had Lita, you had Jacqueline, you had Ivory, 4 women who at that time in the Attitude Era were amazing wrestlers, and they degraded them by making them strip down to their underwear.
I want to talk about this for a second. I want to talk about Serena Deeb's promo on AEW Dynamite this week.
Yeah, let's do it.
I thought that promo was fire because it was truth.
Yeah.
The best promos are heavy laden with truth.
Yep.
And when she talked about having to shave her head and get breast implants to impress some perverted old men.
Yeah.
I was just so proud of her for speaking her truth.
Yeah.
Even though it was a heel promo, it was like,
I mean, it struck a chord with me. She was right. I mean, these women, even still today, still have to go through hoops to be put into matches where they are objectified. AEW doesn't do it as much as WWE still does.
Well, look at Paige. Look at the transformation that she's made to her body.
Yeah.
because of WWE. Now
Yeah.
you could easily say she could easily say this is what I wanted to do,
Right.
but would she actually have done that had she not had a wrestling career?
I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to say. I would
Yeah,
hope not.
so-
There's no
But
reason to
like,
put
yeah,
yourself
she's
through
got
that.
that. She has to be presentable
Yeah.
to the audience, which is stupid.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go to our best of the number threes. The D promo, the D promo was phenomenal. It got a lot of people talking, for sure. So our number three best was, of course, Hell in the Cell. And I've always loved steel cage matches. I fondly will remember Jimmy Snuka jumping off the top of the cage onto Don Morocco on one of the Saturday morning Superstar shows. Now, while Vince would love you to think that he created the evil and demonic contraption called Hell in a Cell, a cage with roof, the first one was actually an untelevised match between Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer for Georgia Championship Wrestling in the 80s. Years later at Bad Blood, Vince contained both Taker and Shawn Michaels in a 16-foot high cage. It became a gimmick match stalwart that eventually became its own pay-per-view. Of course, the most famous one is Taker and Mankind, which we have pictured here. Canada Dry, wax poetic, my friend, about Hell in a Cell.
Okay, so Hell in a Cell, it's a great match, but I think it's overused a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think it should be a special event.
Yeah.
And the one thing I don't like about the Hell in a Cell now is it takes away from the steel cage.
Yeah.
So now the steel cage is like, it's a steel cage. Who cares?
Yeah.
But steel cage was, when we were growing up watching wrestling, you're like, it's going to be a steel cage match.
Yeah.
That was a special thing. And you just
yeah.
feel like, oh my goodness, this is sick.
Yeah.
And we got Cody and Seth Rollins going Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
I think that easily could have been just a cage match.
Yeah, I think it would have been better as a cage match than a Hell in a Cell, to be honest.
Yeah,
but it's at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
While I appreciate the Hell in a Cell, we've had some really good matches. I think it's overused, and it needs to be special. That's my thoughts.
I love the Hell in a Cell idea. The Georgia Championship Wrestling with Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer, that's one of those holy grail matches because it was never televised, but someone taped it anyways. So it's got that lore behind it. But I love the high spots and that essence of danger climbing up to the very top. And I mean, Mankind, his career changed because of that, for the good and the worse, from that match.
You kind of had Blood and Guts that was similar. With the two rings.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's basically that's War Games right there. That's a ripoff of WCW's War Games. But
but they also have a roof on that thing.
They do have a roof on that, yeah. And steel cage matches are, I can see where you're coming from. But man, when they say Hell in a Cell, I salivate. I'm like, yeah, I'm watching this. I don't give a rat's ass. This is gonna be blood. This is gonna be a bloodbath.
Don't get me wrong. I love it, but I want it to be special.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and having it as a pay-per-view is not a bad idea, but having it as one match, either a one match or two matches, one for men, one for the women, and then build up to that over time, and let that be special. But having it during a weekday Raw or SmackDown or AEW Dynamite, it takes away the allure of it. Let's go to our number two worst. Anything on a pole match. Who books this crap? For years, promoters and bookers would put something on a pole in the corner for a wrestler to fight over. Eventually, it became synonymous with Vince Russo, who would put anything from flags to contracts to Viagra on a pole for the wrestlers to win. The biggest flop of them all was in the AW, and it was the Turkey on the pole match. Fucking turkey on a pole match, guys. Canada Dry.
Okay.
Have you ever won a turkey from turkey on a pole match?
What was the idea behind this turkey on a pole match? What were they doing? What was the goal? Like, you got to take it home and make turkey for your family? Like, what was...
You did. It was a Thanksgiving match, and if you got it, you got to take it home and cook it for your family.
Like, I don't understand the payoff.
You get to feed your family at Canada Dry. You get to feed your family turkey.
AWA that hard up for money that was the incentive to their wrestlers. Like, you know what? You win this match, you're gonna get a turkey.
Yeah.
What? I got a turkey for winning this match.
It doesn't even come with stuffing. It's just a turkey, damn it. It's just not. There's no cranberry sauce. There's no stuffing. There's no mashed potatoes.
It's not even a cooked stuffing. It's not even a cooked turkey.
Anything on a pole match. Vince Russo loves this gimmick. He put Viagra on a pole match. I mean,
who was the Viagra? Was that Macho Man and who was it?
No, that was TNA. That was when it was in TNA. I don't remember the wrestlers. I've worked it.
You know what? They talked a lot about Viagra in WCW, I think, but they didn't actually do it. But yeah, I remember there was a Viagra on a pole match.
Yeah. It's who books this shit? As Conrad Thompson would say.
Who books this shit?
Who books this shit? All right, let's go.
Was there a Santa on a pole match?
There was a Santa on a pole match, yes.
Who was that? Don't know. You know what? The one that I do actually like, it's not bad. Stella brings it up. It's the contract on a pole match. That one's not bad. If you're going to do a pole on a match, that one.
That's not a bad idea. Wasn't Judy Bagwell on a pole?
You remember we had Buff Bagwell on the show.
We did have Buff Bagwell on the show.
He said it wasn't on a pole. She was on a chair on a forklift. So he kind of said that wasn't a pole match. So
yeah.
We
won't count that one. Judy on a tractor match. That's what we'll call that one. All right, our number 2 best, the dog collar match. There are some gimmick matches that are destined to go down in history as one of the best, and the dog collar match is one of those. 2 wrestlers wear dog collars connected by a long chain. These matches are usually involving tons of violence, collisions. The chain could be used as a weapon and sometimes used to hang your opponent. Thankfully, AEW brought this back with a modern twist with Cody and Brody Lee and then Punk and MJF. But it was actually made popular by the picture you see above it. We are talking about Greg the Hammer Valentine and Rowdy Roddy Piper popularized the dog collar match, the NWA. Let's wax poetic about it. Canada Dry, your thoughts on the dog collar match?
The dog collar match. The recent ones that we've seen with Cody and Brody Lee.
Yeah.
The Cody and Brody Lee one, to me, that's special. Cody won it, but that match, they just put on one hell of a show, and wow.
Yeah.
I just remember sitting there, sometimes when you watch wrestling, the disbelief is there and you're just shaking with anticipation. And when I was watching Cody and Brody Lee match, I was just shaking as I was watching that show. Like the caffeine shakes,
Yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
And the CM Punk and MJF one was good too, but I really love the Brody and Cody one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I saw a tape of the Roddy and Greg Hammer Valentine's dog collar match, and
did we have Fiend and Brian when the dog collar?
They did. Yeah, they were in dog collar match too. But I remember Greg the Hammer Valentine wrapping the chain around his fist and then taking a shot and hitting Piper. And I stood up and yelled, "No, you do not hit Piper like that." And I got so invested in this match. And
you know why that was so much better? Because, we didn't have the smart marks. We didn't have internet. We just we had the disbelief was real. Like wrestling was so
Yeah.
close to real back then.
Yeah.
And the disbelief was easier to swallow.
Yep. I agree. But that Brody Lee and Cody match, I was so happy when Tony Khan brought the dog collar match back. I was like, all right, business is open. Let's see what they got. And they delivered on a Dynamite. It wasn't even a pay-per-view. It was a Dynamite. The Hammer Valentine and Piper was early 80s, I think 81, 82. It was right before Roddy went to the WWE.
Yeah, do we have one with Junkyard Dog as well, or no?
Yeah, Junkyard Dog was in one with, it was in Mid-South. I can't remember who he fought.
What was with Valentine?
I think it may have been Greg Valentine. It may very well have been.
They were showing that one more than the Piper one for the Cody match, I believe. I could be wrong.
Yeah. So let's go to our number ones. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the worst gimmick match of all time. Let me go ahead and explain the picture. In what drug-induced multiple bodies of whiskey's long night of booking did they think this was a good idea? Essentially, you had Blacktop Bully and Dustin Rhodes would fight in an open trailer of an 18-wheeler covered in hay as it rode down the back streets of Georgia. The winner would be the first person who would climb to the top of the truck and blow the horn. This was so freaking asinine, it actually led to both wrestlers and the booking agent to lose their jobs. King of the Road or the Hayride match. It's never been done again. I don't see it ever happening again. Canada Dry, you pulled this one, because I remember you sent me the picture of it in chat. What the hell? Who books this shit? Who books this crap? Give it away. Go ahead.
Well, essentially, Dustin is taking the heat on this one because no one's ever heard from the other guy again.
Yeah.
Probably killed his career, Blacktop Bully. He's like, oh man, I'm not gonna, and then but essentially they were driving around the crowd.
Yeah.
And you can see the action because it's like wrestling in a NASCAR. You're not gonna be able to see people wrestling. The angles are all shitty. Oh my goodness, like such bad idea. It's so bad, you kind of want to watch it now.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to get
you can. It's on YouTube, guys. It's on YouTube. King of the Road match. Dustin Rhodes, King of the Road match. Type that in there.
Right after this podcast, everyone go look at King of the Road match and have a good time. Maybe we'll repost it that match to our YouTube channel just for.
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should reshare that because it is the
worst match ever.
Yeah, this is the worst gimmick match I think I've ever seen, and it's funny because you posted the picture and said, "Hey, this needs to be on there." I don't remember ever seeing this, but I wasn't a huge WCW guy.
I didn't either. I was just looking the internet and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?"
Yeah, so I went and watched this. I watched this turd, and it was god awful. It was absolutely the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've sat through really bad movies as well. So let's go to our number one. What is the greatest gimmick match of all time? Screw it. It's the Iron Man match. Over the years, matches started to become shorter and shorter in terms of time wrestling. Shorter attention spans and larger rosters means getting as much action as you can. However, back in the day, a 20-minute match was never out of the question. However, sometimes you needed a lot of time to finish a rivalry or to end the storyline, and that meant 30, 40, and even 60-minute matches where most falls win. And while there have been memorable ones, the 60-minute match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12 is hands down the greatest Iron Man match of all time. Nothing against Bayley and Sasha Banks at NXT, but you wouldn't have it's just 60 minutes of pure hell watching it. Canada Dry, I know you've seen this match. Give us your thoughts on it.
They just had so many I love the build up to this match.
Yeah.
You got Shawn Michaels, he's in Texas training.
Yep.
He's doing all this crazy. You got Bret Hart running along the path on the icy Calgary path. He's like, whoa. Yep. And he's, Oh my goodness. But the ending to that was perfect. He had Shawn Michaels in the sharpshooter.
Yep.
Time runs out. Brett's leaving with the championship, and out comes Gorilla Monsoon, restarts the match, and Shawn Michaels wins with a super kick.
Yeah. And what was so great about that match was there was no stipulation for overtime. They if it happened to have been tied, how would it finish? And so there was a lot of confusion, and there were people actually leaving the stadium. If you rewatch it on the network, there were people leaving the stadium because they thought it was over. And it took them a good 5-10 minutes before Monsoon announced that, we're going to sudden death overtime. The next fall wins. It is still to this day a clinic of how to technically put on a 60-minute wrestling
Well,
match.
I think they wanted to save Brett's face a bit by having him in the sharpshooter. Michaels not tapping. Time runs out.
Yeah.
And then somehow Michaels gets the win.
Yeah. Sudden death overtime, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was asking about what we were going to do this week. And I said, yeah, we're going to do worst and best gimmick matches. And he asked about the Iron Man match. And he said, he was like, wow, the only thing I don't like about Iron Man matches is it's kind of like watching a basketball game, playoffs, or an NCAA tournament. You don't really need to watch the whole thing. You can watch the last 4 minutes and get a gist about flow and ebb and how the game.
I disagree with your friend right there.
I disagree with him too. I told him he's on crack, to go get help, seek treatment, whatever.
You got Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, two of the greatest ever. Their attention to detail, well, Bret's at least, his attention to detail, every single thing matters. And so that, I don't want to see a match like this all the time, but every once in a while, like you look at those AEW matches they had with Omega and Bryan and Hangman and Bryan. They went so long. Like I could see Daniel Bryan and Omega, or possibly Hangman in an Iron Man match down the road here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love when you have a fixed time. You have exactly 30 minutes, not whatever time is left on the show before we have to go to the next whatever. I like it. It's fixed. It's it's going to be a 30-minute or a 40-minute or a 60-minute match. It's going to be that. So you can buckle in, and you will start looking at your watch and going, holy shit, there's like 10 minutes left. And they're like tied. Oh my God, it's 4 minutes left. What's going to go on? Holy crap, it's 2 minutes left and they're still tied. How's this going to end? Like, you get emotionally.
And then the to be continued hits on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're not going to get Timmy out of the well.
Dang it. Damn it, Timmy. So that's our list. I hope you agreed or disagreed. Let us know. Send all your hate comments to @the Canada Dry. And if you really love to send it to @the JFB on
and
Twitter.
If you, so they thought it was okay. Send it to All F in Wrestling.
Yeah. Tell us what you think. Thanks for joining us. So, oh shoot, you know what? We're out of time. We did it again. We forgot Kenny, dude. Kenny, man.
How does Cody make the show, but not Kenny?
Cody, because Cody is Cody Rhodes. Kenny is just Kenny. So Kenny, I promise next week, I swear we're going to time it out. We're going to pace this better. We're not going to ramble and go on and stuff like that.
I think we're both guilty of rambling.
We could go. Seriously, we could have an Iron Man show.
We could have 5 minutes just about our shirts.
Yeah, we can do that right there. Let's talk about our shirts and stuff. Hey, if you
really
like the show,
what a segue.
If you really like the show and you really like about what effing wrestling is about, You can find us on social media, fnwrestling.com. You go to the very bottom. We have all our links social media wise. We have our prediction league. We have the FN Wrestling page. We have our personal Twitters on there. We have Instagram. We're on TikTok, and we're going to start doing TikTok soon. If you want to support the show and you know the best way how, put a T on your back. Go to prowrestlingtees.com/FN Wrestling and get just another effing podcast. Look how sexy that shirt is. You can get a JFB shirt. You can get a Canada Dry shirt. You can get a Jaden Collins Prestige shirt. You can get an Owen shirt. You can get the
Magic of Wrestling shirt.
Magic of Wrestling shirt.
I want to plug the Magic of Wrestling here because it's coming up later.
Yeah. Part of our network. So normally the way it goes is Fridays is Wrestling with the Paranormal. Saturdays is, of course, the Magic of Wrestling. Sundays, normally for us, is just another effing podcast. We have another podcast.
5 Eastern. We got Magic of Wrestling. 2 Pacific. So try and tune in. I know I am. I'm gonna watch and make little comments and see if I can
join in. I'm gonna hype it up. So
that Magic of Wrestling Liam there to screw up his game there.
Yeah, I'm gonna just start throwing weird crap into the comments just to throw them off. So fnwrestling.com, go to our Pro Wrestling Tee site. If you're an old school wrestling fan like both me and Canada Dry are, we do run Adrian Adonis's Pro Wrestling Tee store at prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis.
We also got the Markova Army shirt.
Yes. Natalia Markova, huge friend of the show. We love and adore her. She is. She actually wrestled Mickie James this week. NWA Power. We have her fan club is called the Army, and we have the Markova Army shirt on FN Wrestling's Pro Wrestling Tee store. So go there, buy yourself a shirt.
It's got her actual autograph on it.
Yeah, that's what makes it even better. It's got her signature on there. You can't endorse checks with it, but you can put it on your back. So with that said, surprisingly, we did not have a gimmick with Hogan. Last week, he just trashed him left and right with merchandise, but this week, he's not involved in any of these gimmick matches. Did you talk to him? What was up with that?
Hulk Hogan was ignoring me all week.
Yeah.
Text messaged him. He left me high and dry. I tweeted him. Nothing. I called him. Nothing. I left him a message. Nothing. So I guess he ghosted us. So I guess that's FN Wrestling 672. Hulk Hogan 0. Canada Dry out.
This has been an FN Worldwide Media production. You can find us on all social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Want to be part of the show and win some free swag? Go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/FN Wrestling and click like and subscribe. And while you're at it, why don't you throw a T on your back? Go to our Pro Wrestling Tee store at prowrestlingtees.com/FN Wrestling. You can find all these links and more at our awesome website, fnwrestling.com. And as the JFB always says, you can't book it.